Destiny 2 and Bungie are going through some major troubles right now with a 45% drop in revenue, studio laying off 8% of staff and a major reduction in player retention. Well, what can Bungie do to stop the rot and turn things around? Well, the Destiny 3 conversation has resurfaced, and this time the context around the topic has significantly changed. Today I'd like to take a close look at the prospect of Bungie launching Destiny 3, plus also have a look at the pros and the cons of the potential release. Now I know this one is a divisive topic, so let me know down in the comments what you think about Destiny 3. Would really love to hear what you think. Well, here is a quick recap of the situation with Bungie and Destiny 2. So last week, Bungie laid off around 100 members of staff. At first, we thought this was direct action of Sony, but later it emerged that Bungie was behind the decision due to a 45% miss on their revenue projections, largely due to a falling rate of player retention due to a lackluster Lightfall expansion and also increased competition in 2023. Player sentiment is at an all-time low, and the final shape, well, that has been delayed until June 2024. In the Destiny community, we are no strangers to difficult situations with the game. Destiny 2 launched to a major disaster, having removed random roles, making the game much slower with the introduction of 4v4 PvP and also mainly primary weapons. Curse of Osiris was the first expansion released for Destiny 2, and many people look back on that time as the dark days of Destiny 2. Bungie managed to turn things around with a great Forsaken expansion in 2018, but then things took a turn for the worse again in Beyond Light with the release of Stasis, turning many PvP players off the game for good. The Witch Queen expansion was arguably one of the best expansions in the Destiny 2 era, but all that goodwill was wasted with the release of Lightfall, and since then the game has been on a serious downturn in player sentiment and also player retention as well. October 2023 saw the lowest player count for Destiny 2 in a long time, and then Bungie hit their employees with the layoffs. The Destiny 3 conversation has started up again as a potential way to turn things around. Bungie have come out and said they aren't going to be making Destiny 3 a couple of times now, and Destiny 2 is here to stay. To support that, they've invested in engine improvements and have removed and then reintroduced upgraded environments. However, given the current situation Bungie finds themselves in, it's hard to see how they're going to turn player sentiment around and get back to growth. Currently in Destiny 2, we're seeing smaller incremental improvements, and while Season of the Witch, the current season, is largely seen as a successful season, the small improvements over time aren't likely to dramatically improve player numbers. Okay, next up, let's have a look at some of the pros and cons of Bungie releasing Destiny 3. So first of all, the pros, and first of all, I'd like to bring up onboarding. It's almost impossible for new players to get into Destiny 2. Bungie removed the Red War campaign, that was the initial Destiny 2 campaign in 2017, and also vaulted much of the first 2 years of Destiny 2. Then they introduced a new light experience in Beyond Light, that's basically new player onboarding. It takes roughly an hour to get through and introduces you to the major systems in Destiny 2. However, once you're done with that, you're then placed in the solar system with little direction other than your quest log. If you're not used to Destiny 2, that quest log can be really confusing. I still see a lot of Reddit posts complaining of the new player experience, with players confused with what to do. If Bungie were to develop a Destiny 3, then they could introduce a new player onboarding system and learn from their mistakes in the past. Well, next up we've got a new saga. So given the final shape is the end of the 10-year Light vs Darkness saga, this feels like the perfect time to kick off a new saga with Destiny 3. The current plan is to have 3 episodes after the final shape, and then we don't really know what we're getting after that. Are we getting any more major expansions? Are Bungie planning to continue with episodes indefinitely? And if Bungie want to kick off a major new saga in Destiny, then Destiny 3 could be the perfect vehicle to do so. New locations, new enemies, new abilities, new subclasses. This is the major change and the major boost that we need to help get players back. Well, next up, we've got a fresh start. So for many of us veterans, we've got a vault full of roughly 550 plus, probably more like borderlining 600 weapons and armor and items. At this time, I would definitely welcome a fresh start, a clean break from the vault filled with weapons, to be honest, that I never ever use. And to be honest, I would really appreciate that weapon chase once again. Next up, I want to talk about microtransactions. So Bungie could introduce a new financial model to the game, and then we could all have less microtransactions to deal with. Since Witch Queen, Bungie has really ramped up the microtransactions, and this just simply turns players off. Single cosmetics can cost between $10 and $20. That's about the same price as a season. Now, if Bungie were to introduce a monthly subscription, I think I'd be interested if that meant less in-game microtransactions and also less in the other store and more earnable in-game items. Well, finally for the pros, I want to talk about technology innovations and experiments. So, Season of the Chosen increased the enemy density in Destiny. At the time, made the game feel much more alive and seasonal activities much more challenging. So I'd love to see things like 12-man raids. We've seen that possible. It may have been a bug in the game, but we have seen that in the past. Gambit was a decent innovation back in 2018 with the release of Forsaken, but since then, Bungie hasn't really raised the bar on gameplay innovations, and the Destiny 3 could be that opportunity to introduce something new. Well, next up, let's have a look at the cons of Destiny 3. So first of all, simply time and cost. If Bungie were to develop Destiny 3, it's going to take time and effort. Since the layoffs, they got less people to work on the game, and all resources are focused on the next major expansion or supplying the never-ending feed of seasonal content. Not to mention, they're developing Marathon, plus another project codenamed Gummy Bears. Bungie would need the time and the space to develop Destiny 3, and to be honest, that's going to take a number of years. In theory, they could cut the Destiny 2 team in half. One half of the team work on the current game, and one half of the team work on the sequel. Well, next up we got another con, and last time it did not go well. So when Bungie moved from Destiny 1 into Destiny 2, it really didn't go well, and it's worth learning from that experience. At the time, Bungie made a lot of changes to the game by making it primary weapon focused, 4v4 PvP, and it didn't have half the content that Destiny 1 had at the end of its life cycle. And to be honest, Destiny 2 in 2017 did not go down very well with fans at all. Forsaken in 2018 managed to turn things around, or at least set Destiny 2 in the right direction, but it took time, and the content was seriously lacking in that first year. Plus also, it's worth noting Bungie had help back then from Activision with Vicarious Visions. Well, finally, the last one here, and Bungie have said this is not happening. So Bungie have come out and said they are not making Destiny 3 and they want to focus on Destiny 2 for the foreseeable future. However, they made that statement when Destiny 2 was performing well. They were in the midst of the success of Witch Queen, and they seemingly had a plan for Lightfall and the final shape. I think the context has significantly changed. We've got the final chapter coming next, then after that we've got episodes, and then that leads to, well, what does that lead to? At the moment, we don't know what the episodes lead to. Bungie have said they want to talk more about their plans for the final shape and beyond. I'm hoping this means another expansion. Now the earliest we're going to get that is sometime in 2025. Ultimately, it would be very challenging to develop Destiny 3. Personally, if they were to develop something like Destiny 3, I would drop the 3 and simply call it Destiny, or give it the tagline of something like Destiny Online or Destiny Infinite, something better than that. The marketing people can come up with something, but the numbered system just doesn't really make sense in the context of a live service model. I would like to see Destiny 3, but do Bungie have the time or the resources to develop that kind of project? Well, we are just simply going to have to wait and see. As I mentioned at the outset, this one is a divisive topic, and I would love to hear your thoughts on Destiny 3. Do you think it's likely? Would you like to see it? Or do you think I'm completely wrong? Let me know down there in the comments. Would really appreciate your thoughts. Well, that is it today for this look at the pros and cons of Destiny 3. And as always, thank you so much for watching or for listening. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you real soon.